That's the first time he didn't have a boner joke. I don't know how to feel anymore. When I was a child, I was a student at an Episcopal private school. I was a student there until I was 10. My mother had remarried, and we were moving in with our new family to a new city and a new school. I was to start attending public school because my stepdad was determined to make sure I didn't turn into some private school Nancy boy. Without being given a chance to discuss this, I was thrust into the public school in 5th grade. It was here all of my preconceived notions of the world would be thrown out the window. Girls and boys actually liked each other. God wasn't real. And being an adult would actually suck balls. Midway through my first year in public school, the entire 5th grade took a trip to Exchange City. Exchange City was a program started by parents who hated that they weren't able to experience childhood anymore. So they decided to subject children to the toils of adulthood. It was a building that had been decorated to look like a real city. Imagine movie sets and old westerns. And students would spend the entire day working a job that was assigned to them. Every hour, the students would be given a paycheck so that they could take to the bank and then spend on goods. This is how it worked. If you were one of the lucky schools who got to go to Exchange City, a few weeks before the trip, a handful of representatives would come to your school and give you a presentation on what kind of jobs you could have at Exchange City. You could work at a restaurant serving popcorn, or maybe even be a police officer, because hey, why not? After the presentation, the representatives would then interview every student, and based on that, would assign each of us a job. My job was interviewer. So we were at Exchange City, and we all have to report to work. I walk over to the pretend radio station where my pretend office was. I was pretty excited, to be honest. I love watching David Letterman with my dad, and dreamed about having my own show. I figured this was the first step. I was going to walk around with a video camera and interview fellow students about our fancy new big boy jobs. But then get this, Exchange City forgot to buy a video camera. So I couldn't do my job. I started to get upset. This is a job that I wanted, and it actually got assigned to me, and I was afraid of being reassigned. But rather than deal with a snot-nosed little kid, the manager of Exchange City told me that I would get paid every hour if I just stayed out of trouble. And that's how I became the millionaire eccentric of Exchange City. I went to every store in Exchange City and spent money like it wasn't going to be worth anything at the end of the day. I got my hand massaged by a weird 10-year-old. So hard for me to read that sentence. I wasted money at our post office to write letters to my friends bragging about my position. And then I would just, since I didn't have to work, I often followed the postmen around as they did their job so I could watch them open the letter and read them. And I did this all with a seemingly bottomless bag of popcorn in my hand. Author's note, this is exactly what I would do if I won the lottery. But, like anyone in this situation, I started to get bored. I became a bored boy. And bored boys go bad. In the middle of Exchange City was a large rug that was patterned to look like a city park. There was a little pond with embroidered duckies, a walking path, even a sign that said, "Keep off the grass." They had a bench on top of the rug, and I would often sit on it and look around in the park and the city that I fucking owned. But this time around, instead of walking along the path, I walked straight at a straight line down to the bench and sat down, stepping over the green portions of the carpet in the process. Within seconds, a 10-year-old police officer approached me. "Hey, Connor, you walked on the grass and you can't do that?" Fucking pig. So what? I just want to sit down. It's just a carpet. Come on, man, I gotta give you a ticket. In retrospect, I could have just paid the ticket and walked away. In retrospect, I could have done a lot of things. But I did the wrong thing. I told the cop, my friend Andrew, who I grew up with, who I knew before he donned the shield, to get bent. So I was arrested. I broke the rules of Exchange City, by not doing exactly what the cops said, and so I was sent to Exchange City Prison. I was the only arrest of the day. As I sat in my cell, I thought about what led me to this moment. I started to laugh. A guard noticed me and asked what was so funny. Do you have any fucking idea who I am? I'm gonna be out of here in no time. My lawyer will be here any minute. I'm gonna be back out there doing what I do. And you know why? Because I run Exchange City! My lawyer, my friend Ben, showed up and argued my case, and I was back on the streets. Reporters were waiting for me as I walked out of the police station, and I was more than happy to brag about my run-in with our boys in blue right in front of their office. I had the confidence of Pablo Escobar. I spent the rest of the day shopping, and before long it was time to go home. My peers didn't seem too interested in talking to me. Maybe they were upset that I had gamed the system. Now, 16 years later, I have the body of Pablo Escobar. And I realize that life isn't that fun, knowing no one is paying me to stay out of trouble. I never get the jobs I want. I'm still not hosting The Late Show. God still isn't real. But every now and then, I sit on my patio, take a long drag from my cigarette, and fondly recall the time that I was fucking God.